Okay, let's move away from kind of reading and academia and talk a little bit more in terms of like the practice of training. So what are your kind of thoughts on the existing training landscape for emergency managers and responders? I know that's a big question, but.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I've been having some like really deep conversations with people in the space for the last year or two. And I think EMI, FEMA's EMI is doing a halfway decent job of creating content for training. And what I mean by that is concepts and titles and what they want to get out. The execution of what they're doing, I think, needs help. But I was actually talking to one of the people who developed these classes and put it on, and we had a really good conversation about it. He's like, well, we have restrictions. I get that. I'm not slagging any of the authors or even the concept. Problem is today is that we jump online and we watch these basically PowerPoint slides that have overview on top of them, and the training is not dynamic. I think we need some more dynamic. If we're going to do online training, we need to do more dynamic online training. And you and I've had that conversation as well, in the past. On the other end of it, we have so much more information coming in on research and things that it's going to be hard for people to necessarily keep up with some of the new concepts. I mean, they're revamping incident command systems, or NIM. They're revamping these because we have more information that's coming in. And so how do we get this information out to the general population? When I say that, to those of us that aren't in academia, to the practitioner. And then there's two different areas, right? You have training, which is practical application, and then you have knowledge, which is your academic side of it, right? And I think we need to be able to bring both of those together, where we're having somebody getting knowledge, we're having people getting practical application and putting it together. I think we do an okay job on the training. Again, like I'm saying, we definitely have some room for improvement. It seems to be you talk to people, go through them, it seems to be the same stuff, just delivered in a little bit different way. If you take ICS 100 to 400, right? If you take them consecutively, and like, gosh, I did that. I did 300 and 400 back to back, right? It's realistically the same information, just delivered in different ways. And then we have some inconsistencies, right? We tell people that, hey, we're not going to do, we don't want you using acronyms, right? So we go through ICS 700. So, okay, no more acronyms, right? And then ICS 800, it's all about a bunch of acronyms. So we have some inconsistencies on that training as well. So I think those are just little areas that we have to shore up. I think in general, the information is good. I think basic is good. I think trying to get people up into the advanced levels, into the executive levels, we definitely need to have more there. Does that make sense?
Absolutely makes sense, yeah. And I would agree with you in terms of, what FEMA is doing with the EMI. I also have, this is not a slate on FEMA at all. The information that they put out for free for people to register for is absolutely phenomenal. And I agree with you. This is not a slate on FEMA at all, but there's something that and of course, like FEMA training is US based, right? And our audience is around the world, but like it's comparable. You can see similar kind of things in the UK. There's a lot of training that's put out there, and then it kind of stops somewhere, and you go, okay, well, what's next? And I personally think that one of the answers for what next is we're not looking necessarily to find, as a collective, we're not looking up to find an instructor anymore. We're looking around us to see, okay, well, what do you know? And what do you know? And, how can we kind of, mesh together, and how can we learn from each other? Now, I've talked about the experience that I've had at conferences so many times, which is, you go and you listen to these conference speakers and they're absolutely brilliant. And then you come away and you're thinking that your learning is done for the day. And then you go and you have a coffee, or you go and have a beer, or whatever it is that you drink with somebody. And you're like, wow, this is amazing. I wish this was also in the conference. So, I think we're moving away from that formalistic sort of Confucian hierarchical kind of structure in training. And we're starting to look sideways in addition to looking up to our instructors. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. And I mean, and even at like your training, like you do a tabletop exercise, right? You're like, okay, I'm going to train my staff on this. And a lot of times people sitting and as a classroom instructor, you sometimes have to pull information and questions out of people, right? And that's part of the thing as a teacher, you need to help, right? But what you see is during these tabletop exercises, you say, okay, we're going to take a 10-minute break, go get some coffee. And the conversations that you hear people having, getting the coffee, grabbing the water, whatever, whatever they're doing, sometimes I jump in and have the conversation with them because they are actually learning more there than they are doing the tabletop exercise because they're either one, unsure of themselves to ask the question, or they don't want to look like a fool by asking a question they think that everybody already has the answer to. They don't. And so you're right. And I think that's one thing too that I miss about having like a classroom class necessarily at times, right? Is that you, like with EMI, for instance, with their online classes, not their classroom classes, but their online classes, is that you don't have that interaction, either one with the instructor, or there's nobody you can ask questions to. There's nobody you can bounce stuff off of. It's not there. And so I think creating a platform to where you can either email the instructor and say, hey, this is the question I have, or I think that you're wrong. It's okay, by the way, everybody. It's okay to tell the professor that you think they're wrong, but you better have a backup to the reason why you think they're wrong, because because they probably have the research behind it that's going to be able to explain something. So it's okay to say that. So those conversations are really important to have. I think having a platform where you can do that is critical.
Definitely. I mean, I have been at plenty of conferences where I'm kind of sat there and I'm listening to the speaker and I'm thinking about something. I'm like, okay, am I just being an idiot here? Am I actually understanding, what this person is saying? And then I'm kind of like looking around the room thinking, okay, you look like an ally. Like, I'll go and ask you afterwards. And actually that was one of my very good friends now, who's a former Metropolitan Police officer in London, well, detective in London. We actually got talking for that reason. I was like, you, my friend, you're going to be an ally. And we ended up talking about something, and now he's one of my best kind of friends now. Cool. So, these things happen and relationships come out of all of this. And I think, again, it just kind of underscores how important learning is from each other, and I don't want to make this a big thing about the Crisis Academy and what we're actually doing, but one of the big things that I spent a lot of time on in the beginning when I was building this platform is making sure that there was a way to watch a video like this and have a discussion about it, or to watch a series of slides or a presentation and have a discussion about it, to be able to email instructors. All of that functionality is built into this platform, and I think that's one of the things that makes it so great, in a way, if I may toot my own horn. So yeah, I completely agree with the importance of that.